So Arknights Endfield has been out for like 24-hour-ish at the time of recording, and with any open world action RPG with gacha mechanics, you gotta compare it to Genshin and say it's a Genshin killer. Just like how it started with Tower Fantasy and then Wuthering Waves, and now it's Arknight Enfield's turn. Even though, to be honest, I never heard of a pre-existing game dying due to a newer game. In my experience, it's usually the devs shooting themselves in the foot with bad decisions as their game dies. I'm not gonna name any games though, but Arknight Enfields will probably not end up like Clash Royale. Now, I don't know anything about the generosity of the game as a free-to-play or how bad the endgame grind is, but after playing the game for like 6 hours, aka getting all 40 pulls for the novice banner, I think I got the gist of what's happening in Arknights Enfield. Starting with the combat, it's similar to action RPGs like Xenoblade, where the entire party is on field fighting the guy. It has some upsides, like it makes fighting more visually interesting, I guess, because there's 4 people attacking at the same time. However, there's a downside of your party members just dying sometimes. Technically, you can swap into other teammates and dodge attacks for them, but I feel like no one's gonna play the game that seriously. The real seriousness comes from the building aspect, and we're probably just gonna stick to one person and pray no one else dies. Especially because you don't need to swap to have access to your other party members' skills. Instead, each of their skills are a button press away while you have a mana bar with 3 segments. Each segment lets you use a skill of one of your party members, and the mana bar regenerates over time. Most of the complexity of the combat comes with managing this mana bar. I'd say it's pretty cool and unique, but I won't go much further than that because none of my characters are leveled up or have any of the late game gear. Some other things about the combat is, I guess, a follow-up attack where under certain conditions you are able to press E and the corresponding character does an attack. The thing with this mechanic is that it somewhat forces a character into a specific team comp because those certain conditions can get pretty specific. For example, Last Rites requires 3 stacks of cryo infliction on an enemy, which can only be placed by people who specifically have it in their kit. So that's something to look out for. But also there's obviously some characters who are less restricted than others with conditions that are easy to get. Last thing I would like to say is that you can just hold left click and just cycle through your entire normal attack combo. It's a pretty good mechanic because back when I started Genshin, my hand would start hurting from spamming normal attacks, but maybe that was because I was hopelessly addicted to that game, playing hours on end. Overall, I think the combat's fine, just keep an eye out for team restrictions caused by the follow-up attacks. Next is exploration. There's kind of 2 ways of exploring this game. The first is the traditional run around, get chests, and get the Oculus / the caskets with various fights and puzzles along the way. And the second way is to explore, but within an arm's reach of your power lines, because some stuff requires you to connect them to electricity in order for you to get the chests or interact with the puzzle. It's kind of annoying, but also not really a big deal, I think. Also kind of related to exploring is the flowers and stuff you have to get in order to level up your characters like in those other gacha games. In Genshin, it takes multiple days because it takes like 3 days for stuff to respawn in that game for some reason. Plus, you need over 100 of those things and you have to run around to get them. In Wuwa, I'm pretty sure it's like 1 or 2 days, but you still have to run around to get them. This game does something different by giving you zip lines you can place throughout the map and basically lets you go from one location to another hands-free. You still have to go out of your way to get them, but it's pretty nice for getting those materials or getting these supply drops that are throughout the map that, unless I'm missing something, you have to get in order to upgrade certain things that's important. I would just say the exploration works well enough. And probably the most important thing in this game is the base building. It's the most distinguishing factor that separates Enfield from Genshin and Wuwa, and personally, it's probably the best thing in this game. Like, instead of working on this video, I played just the base building for like 3 hours, making a shit factory and having the time of my life. I've heard it was similar to Factorio or whatever that game is called. I have never played that game, but what this reminds me of is the Minecraft Create mod. For those who know, it's the greatest Minecraft mod, and for those who don't, it's basically just a factory mod, but you have the 3rd dimension unlike this game. Anyways, I don't really have much else to say about the base building. Most of the time it's just you explore to connect mines and stuff to your power lines while also placing zip lines to important spots you need. Then at the base you input items into buildings in order to make stuff, which probably have multiple steps in order to get that certain item. There might be a bit more to it because I haven't unlocked everything, but I'm pretty sure it's used to make everything in the game, including probably making the gear of this game, aka the artifacts / the echoes. So I hope you like building the most efficient factory you can. I've heard heard from when the game was in beta that it took like 8 real life hours to get a piece of endgame gear. Now, I don't know if that's still the case, but I'm pretty sure that this is pretty decent when compared to other gacha games because you can be offline and the factory does it for you, so you can get 3 good pieces in a day. And if I'm remembering correctly, there was no luck involved to it, unlike in Genshin and Wuwa where there's tons of randomness built into them, and even in Hoyo's later games where now they have you build like basically 2 different sets on a singular character. It's kind of cooked for HSR and ZCC in this regard. And I would say it takes like a month to get a good piece. I don't know, really depends on the item. And for the story, good question.